Welcome back to After the Snap. I'm your host, Tasha Pierce. So, and look, I can't see. It's going to be really a hard time today with the yeah, it's going to be a little difficult for me with the comments, but I'm still going to keep up with them. Um, Having some vision difficulties. So I've been missing, but many of you guys know, you guys know my struggles, and we'll leave it at that. So knowing that I have these types of episodes every now and then, hopefully you can forgive me. I am trying to pull myself back into the swing of things. So welcome back, welcome back, welcome back. Yeah, I don't know. Oh, by the way, if you're here, then we're going to talk Star Trek Picard for 100% sure. But hey, Angus, we're going to talk Star Trek Picard. We might talk Moon Knight, depending upon how many people have watched that initial episode. If you haven't watched it and you're in the chat, let me know. I don't know. But yeah, it's going to be a real interesting day. What I need is somebody to read me the doggone I need somebody to read me the comments because I'm having vision issues. So shoot, if it's just me and Angus, we can get things started. Be just a continuation of the conversation that we have over on Discord. Which, if you are watching this live on the rebroadcast, why are you not part of the Discord? There's a link in the chat, and there's a link in the description wherever you're watching this stream. Okay, so shucks. Look, man, we might as well, because what I really want to talk about now. Look, I liked Moon Knight. I enjoyed the first episode. I thought it was a good start, and it's a good setup for what we're expecting out of Stephen Grant / Mark Spector / Moon Knight. However, I don't know how many people are up to speed on Moon Knight, and the big conversation for me would be Picard, because we got some answers and then we got some more questions, which again tells me that that the writers have been thinking that far ahead. For instance, I don't know how many people watched WandaVision, but in WandaVision, there were a bunch of questions after the first episode or two that the audience had. Many people in the audience were all asking the same questions on social media, getting the buzz out about this show. And then on that third episode, I believe, they show a whiteboard where all of the questions that were being asked by us were being asked also by the characters in the show. So it's a meta way of them saying, we knew that you guys were going to ask that. So here's this next little nugget. This is how I feel about this season of Star Trek Picard. Every time we have a little question, hey Clarence, every time we have a little question, we get a little answer, and then they give us a couple more questions. I think they're doing an outstanding job of keeping this part of a conversation. In Trek circles, this is what we're talking about. We are all asking the same questions. So I like that. You said Windows has a built-in magnifier app. That's going to require me to find that app. You told me about it, Angus, a couple of days ago, but I that was the day I never got out of bed. So I should have been looking for it then. But yeah, we're gonna work through this. I don't know. Maybe I can just make my screen bigger. Well, that would help because it was set so low. Yeah. Well, that helps a little. Okay. So let's go. First and foremost, uh, I got this first slide up here because I always forget to say thank you to my patrons on these live streams. So thank you, patrons. Y'all know who you are. And just in case you don't, your name is on the screen. So thank you, patrons. And if you'd like to support the show, there is a link for Patreon down in the chat or in the show notes, wherever you're watching. Or you can just go to www.patreon.com/Tasha Pierce. Pick a tier, any tier. I will appreciate your support. That is out the way. We're going to start in the obvious place, y'all. We're going to start in the obvious place. And that is we're going to listen one more time because I know Clarence and Angus probably have both listened to Q. But you remember in this episode, Q gave Adam Soon a calling card. And the calling card had of course, his phone number on it. And when you call the phone number, you get this.
Hello, you have reached the Q Continuum. We are unable to get to the phone right now because we are busy living in a plane of existence your feeble mortal minds cannot possibly comprehend. Furthermore, it's pointless to leave a message because we, of course, already knew that you would call, and we simply do not care. Have a nice day.
Well, I hope y'all heard that because I didn't. Let me see. Let's see. Open the start menu, click type mag, and it should show up immediately. It should. Let's see. Yeah, there it is. Whoa. Now it's a little too big. Okay, I need to go out of the magnifier app because it made it a little too big. But this is going to come in handy when I'm reading for sure. Now I got to get out of this because it's too big. Oh, y'all heard it, Clarence and Angus. Of course they knew people were going to call that number. There's some sick people in this world. I'm one of them. I am one of those sick people. Okay. I think things, okay. I got things back to where I understand what's happening. But thank you for giving me that piece of knowledge there, Mr. Angus. I just can't use it. I just can't use it for this. Okay, so first things first. We see Renee Picard. Renee Picard is on I guess this a spacecraft called Shango. I gotta have these on. The spacecraft is called Shango, and it's obviously she's going through what I initially thought was she was really on the mission, but then we find out that she is going through it's obvious that she's going through a simulation. So in this simulation, errors were made, her life was lost, but they have time to get things right. You can see that she is getting frustrated, a little bit overwhelmed, that she thinks that maybe possibly she's in over her head. And then I'll get to that in just a second. But so we can see the doubts that she's having. And that led us directly into, I got my slides out of order, but we'll talk about this right here. With Rios on the ice bus, Raffi and Seven are still intending to rescue him. I felt like this was a plot line that went absolutely nowhere. Like, this situation, we didn't need it, because it didn't expand the story in any way. It has established that this is a very racially tense time in the 21st century, and we established that with Guinan and Picard. We didn't need this extra segue if nothing was going to come of it. The only thing that came of it is Rios got these people to work together. I don't know. And Angus, you said you got the sense that it was Renee's own Kobayashi Maru. Could be. Could be. Yeah. So this whole storyline, I felt like we wasted some time over the last couple of weeks getting to this, because it just was an unsatisfactory climax for this storyline in this episode. Now we go back with Picard and the Loris lookalike. We find out that she's not Loris, not in this timeline. Her name is Talon, and of course, just like we predicted, I guess, in a way, I guess, as we kind of guessed over here in the think tank, she was a member of the Gary 7 race of people, where they send agents out into the universe and have them basically protect a timeline or the sanctity of this time period. She was assigned to Picard's great aunt. I don't know what this lady's relation to him is for real, but she was assigned to Renee Picard. She's been watching Renee, watching like a stalker. She's been watching her for 24 years. I don't know how Renee don't realize that she is being tailed, or maybe that is the source of her anxieties, knowing that she's being followed for her whole life. But for 24 years, that she has been following Renee Picard. That brings me to Renee Picard's how impressive she is. Everything she's done has been accelerated. She is an accelerated person. She learned, and I forgot what all these different things that she learned, but I do know that she was finished with university at 16 years old, and by 24 she's in position to be on one of these big space missions. So this is telling you that Renee Picard is something of a prodigy, but sometimes with that being that accelerated, there comes anxieties, and that can lead to depression. And that is where Renee is on her journey. But we got a lot from Talon as well. This picture stood out to me as far as Picard and Talon go. This picture kind of stood out to me because it puts that ship in between Picard and Laris. And if we remember back in episode 1, that's where we were with Picard and Laris. The ship is always between them. The mission is always between them. Picard will not allow himself to give himself over to romanticism, because there's always that ship in the way. So that to me kind of stood out, and it felt good looking at, at those two with that ship in between them. Here we have Lee Thompson. Yeah, okay, Lee Thompson, and she's playing a doctor who is on a panel that is listening to a pitch that's being given by Adam Soong. Now, this panel, spoiler alert, is not going to go for Adam Soong's pitch, because basically the genetic research that he is doing, he's been doing it on soldiers. Ding, ding, ding. So he's been doing it on soldiers, and he doesn't have the funding to continue his research, and they are not going to give it to him. They've cut his funding because of these genetic experiments that he's doing. Another thing is Dr. Vasily Rozhenko that's sitting here next to Lee Thompson. We don't know if that is supposed to be a callback to Worf's parents, adoptive parents' name, but they were also Rozhenko, so I don't know if this was supposed to be one of his ancestors or not. This picture shows Adam Soong, especially when he approached these three people on this panel, which for some reason is sitting like out in the middle of a hallway. But okay, I'll go for that. I'll go with this panel not having an office or a conference room to do this in. They're doing it right out in the open. The floor is what stood out to me. The floor is a checkerboard pattern, chess pattern. We know that Q told Picard, "You are not a pawn in this game. You are the very board upon which this game is being played." Enters Adam Soong on the chess patterned floor, to me signifying that he is now entering the game. He is a pawn, but he's entering the game, and Q is pulling out this. I guess this might be his. This might be. Can I say it's his queen? The queen can move everywhere. I don't know if he would be a queen or maybe a bishop, but he's an important piece to Q's puzzle. Then we find out Adam Soong's whole, I guess his whole motivation is Corey Soong. Corey Soong is his daughter, and of course she is a lookalike of Soji and Daj from season 1. They, I guess, were crafted after her appearance. She is his reason. She has a genetic defect, and I'm wondering if it's because of tests or experiments that he did on her. I'm sure we'll find all that out. I'm wondering if she's a clone or if she's a real girl. Basically, those are my questions about Corey. But she's his motivation. She's going to keep Adam Soong with his nose to the grindstone, uh, looking for a cure for her condition, so that she will be able to at some point step outside of the house without the atmosphere killing her, and also to increase her lifespan. She's got like I guess a shortened lifespan, a life expectancy because of her condition. In walks Q, because after Adam Soong meets, or after Adam Soong goes home and tells Corey how horrible a time he had at this pitch meeting, this is when Q sends that calling card to his 3D printer. Y'all, excuse me, I got brain fog. To his 3D printer. Obviously, Adam Soong calls them and they set up a place to meet. And here they are meeting. Now, this is where Q introduces himself to Adam Soong. And he introduced himself in an interesting way. He used the words, and the words where I'm most familiar with the quote was from Oppenheimer during World or after World War II, after the atomic bombs were dropped. Oppenheimer said, "I be death, destroyer of worlds," and that is how Q introduced himself. He introduced himself as Death, destroyer of worlds. Oh, okay. You said Angus was saying that the hexagonal pattern on the wall is hive like. So that was, yeah, back here. Also there were a lot of hexagons, or I don't know if it's true hexagons that I saw in the pattern of the drone force field that he uses for Corey. We haven't gotten to that, but it doesn't matter. We can talk about it out of order. But yeah, it is, and I didn't think about it as far as it being like part of a hive. But yeah, that is something that can definitely be what they are trying to get across with this imagery, because everything is intentional. So looking in the background of these pictures will give us an idea. Paying attention to the details will give us an idea of where we might be going next. That's a good catch, Angus. Now we get back here with Q. He says, "I am Death, destroyer of worlds." He also said he's a child of stardust. He had a very poetic way of introducing himself, but that Death, destroyer of worlds, it kind of made me think that Q knows where this version of Q, because it's just something weird going on with the Q character, right? This version of Q says that he's Death, destroyer of worlds. And I'm wondering if he knows that what he is bringing to Adam Sung is going to have an effect on humanity tantamount to what we saw with World War II and those atomic bombs. I'm wondering if that was a hint that he's about to unleash destruction on humanity. And I don't know if destruction is going to come in the form of this little blue pill. No Matrix. But this little blue pill could very well be how we introduce this is the forbidden fruit. The Q in this situation is the serpent, and he is telling uh Adam Soong, I got all the answers that you need. All you have to do is use this pill. If you find that this pill is worth it, then you owe me a favor. And that is a Faustian bargain. That's where Adam Soong has to make his decision. Do I sell my soul to this devil by taking this cure, giving it to my daughter? Am I in the position, or am I prepared to be indebted to this mysterious being that knows an awful lot about me? Okay. Something I forgot to mention, going back to Raffi 7, they were rescuing Rios in the storyline that went absolutely nowhere to me. But we are being it's an indication that Raffi's grief is still overwhelming her, and of course it would be. This has only been a day, so of course she's hallucinating. She's seeing Elnor, and yeah, this is just showing again that that grief continues to be her motivation. Oh, you said there's Soong's daughter. Hi, David. Oh, you haven't watched it yet? You better be careful over here. We've been spoiling things, and we've been right about some things. So, um, but yeah, Soong's daughter. This version, Adam Soong, his daughter has been introduced into this whole thing. She's here now. Okay, so in a situation where we knew something terrible was going to happen at some point. They left the Borg Queen on the ship by herself. I I I think that it would have been safer leaving Jurati with her rather than leaving her on that ship by herself, because of course she figured out a way to reach out uh, to the outside, to the public, to the general public, and lure somebody in, which was this police officer who, by the way, he had a little nicotine problem like I do, but I'm trying to shake mine. So he she calls the police pretending to be, and by she I mean the Borg Queen, pretending to be in some type of distress, and the police send one officer. it's like it's like they wanted him to die. I don't care where we at in the world. Shouldn't police always travel in pairs? And of course, this officer doesn't have a body cam on. It doesn't appear that he has a body cam on. And I'm pretty sure that even if he did, Jurati would have been smart enough to erase it when she rescued him. But yeah, speaking of Jurati, a lot of people were wondering how she came up with this double barrel shotgun. Turns out it was inside of the Picard chateau. That part didn't bother me. But there were some people who were like, "Why would Rios have that on his ship?" And the answer is Rios didn't have it on his ship. She got it from the chateau. She goes. She finds the Borg Queen manhandling this man, and she threatens her. "I'll shoot you." Borg Queen is like, "Oh no, you ain't gonna shoot me. You need me to get home." But yeah, spoiler alert, she shot her. She shot the Borg Queen. And even though we heard the gunshot, I knew there was going to be more to it. I didn't know how much more there would be. And I'm kind of satisfied, fired up even about the way that they have chosen to go. We'll get there. Couple of slides. We see Talon explaining to Picard um, that it is a possibility that his ancestor, Renee, is going to back out of this mission. It's her job to kind of guide her to the mission, but there is still an opportunity for Renee to back out. Meaning, okay, we were at April 12th. The Europa mission takes off on April 15th. And they have a gala, however you want to say it, to go to on April 12th. Once they get past April 12th, she has to go into a mandatory quarantine for the mission. So as long as they can get past this night, they can almost be sure that Renee is going to go on the mission. Now, Renee is, again, like I said, she suffers from anxiety, depression, and as gosh, it was so poignant to me this last couple of weeks. But as Picard said, she's lucky to be alive. You know, people those conditions can be debilitating, and man, I had a ride these last couple of weeks, so I understand. But yes, it could be debilitating. It looks like Renee is seeing a therapist though, so that's a great thing, right? Except for when it's not, because her therapist has been it's Q. It's been Q. Now I can't say, and this is where we've got a question in the think tank. Again, think tank on the Discord. If you'd like to be involved, look in the show notes or in the chat at the top of the chat. You'll find a link for the Discord so you can join. Here's an issue we've got. We're running into. And I'm looking at this technology really for the first time. I'm really getting this close to it. This tech is kind of weird. But okay. Q shows up in this scene as Renee Picard's therapist. He's doing the whole Freud impersonation. But he's there in April. He's aged up because that is where Picard comes in. But when we saw Q, was it last week's episode? He had the newspaper. He was reading about the Europa mission. His newspaper was from January, and he was aged up there. So we're wondering if in this continuity, Q has just been here in this world from January until April. Has he just been on the ground, boots on the ground, working practically to I guess to sow his seeds of destruction? Has he been working practically? What is really going on with Q? I guess is the big question. Like, are there two Qs? Are we in a situation where this Q and the Q that came in and got Picard and his team from the 24th century, or I'm wondering if they're two different Qs. They're not the same Q because something is wrong, something is different. And I can't explain it the way I want to because my head is a jumbled mess right now. But that is a question that I've been having. Like, is he really the Q that we know, the one that we saw in this episode? It's weird because he's old and he's been old since January, whereas the Q that we know that Picard is familiar with, he aged himself up in April. Some things that we gotta keep our eyes open to the answers to these questions because I'm a little bit confused about the Q thing. So Angus is saying that Q chooses what time to enter the timeline. The two Q versions we see may be seen out of order, except for one. One of them, one of the versions of Q has his powers. The other one doesn't, and that's what makes me wonder if these are two different Qs. One of them has his powers. One of them obviously is struggling, which was brought up by, I believe, Angus himself, that he brought up that the only time we've ever seen Q have his powers taken away was by another Q. The Q continuum, in fact, will take your powers away if you get a little stupid with your powers. So now my question is, this Q that we're seeing in this episode, Fly Me to the Moon, if that Q is now under some type of punishment, but that the other Q wasn't under. I don't know if it makes sense. Let me know if you understand what I'm saying. I thought this was a cute scene where they were walking through Chateau Picard, and and Raffi are having a conversation, and it was a very blunt and brief one. She asked half of a question, he bluntly answered. She asks another half of a question, he bluntly answers. And the third time they do this, she says, "Okay, nice talk." And all of the questions were surrounding the Laris lookalike Talon and how he feels and how creepy it is for him that Talon, is somebody he has to work with, and they don't have the same relationship that he used to have with Laris, if that makes any sense. Okay, so we're having a meeting. We're having a meeting. We got Picard telling them what they're up against, and Talon showing them the uh, the footage of Renee Picard being having her mind tampered with by Q. Q don't need no powers to tamper with the mind of a fragile young girl. So in January, he gets there. He thinks he's just going to snap her into having these feelings of insecurity and anxiety. Turns out Q's powers don't work. He ends up having to work on her mind day by day, breaking her down. And I think he's gotten there. It's been 4 months. So at this point, Q is almost acting as a human devil. I don't know. I don't know how to put it. But yeah, he's Picard in this scene is catching them all up to speed about what's going on, and that there's this gala. They have to just make sure that she stays on track. Renee Picard stays on track for the night, and they will have safeguarded their future. Fun will now commence. Hi, how's it going? That technology, that's what made me stop and look at it. It does look very Romulan, doesn't it? Thank you for bringing that up. I didn't want to say it, and I didn't have any baseline, but it does. That's very interesting tech. It looks very Romulan in the hands of Talon, who appears to not be Romulan in this continuity. And I'm wondering if it was just like a foreshadowing that she's going to become a Romulan person in the future, or if this is something just if it's going to mean anything to us in the next few episodes. Oh, okay. So they're about to do this heist. We're getting some classic Mission Impossible, James Bond, Gary Seven, even Julian Bashir, Dr. Bashir, I presume. We're getting that kind of episode, it seems, next week. And I'm here for it. Let's get out of these dusty quarters. Let's, now that the gang's all back together, let's get into solving this problem. The problem of let's make sure Renee Picard gets on this space mission. Um, we went over this what do you call it, passport with a kind of a fine tooth comb. Probably not a fine tooth comb, but we went over it, and we went over it because, of course, this is Renee's passport. This is what she's using as a identification to get into this super secure party that they're having for people who are going on the space mission. We look over at her passport, and we see, of course, the same thing we see all over the place: dates. And I have written, or I had come across some, gosh, I can't even find my we had come across some answers to some of these problems. I didn't even look at this. Can't see. Yeah, I'm gonna have to. Is it Tasha holds court and we retort? What? um, I gotta find that slide that I had where I had the. Oh no, I wrote it down. Give me a second. Let me grab my note over here. Okay, we got some dates. We got Renee Picard's birthday of November 22nd, 1996. That's the first Contact premiere. So that's the day that we got first Contact in the movie. So that is an Easter egg for that. We have, what other date is here? September 24th, 2017. That is the the date of the Vulcan Hello Battle about Binary Stars from Discovery. So that's what that date came from. Um, gosh, there was a disco promo drop of Star Trek Discovery promo drop on 9/17/17. I don't know if they were pointing towards that, but that is another date that was a yeah, that was another date. And I'm like, okay, I'm not 100% sure if they were pointing to that direction, but it is that is something that happened. We had a promo drop. And then if I had a photo of Jurati's, if I had a photo of her passport, we would have found that the date that her passport was issued, 8/6/20, would have been the lower decks second contact. So all of those dates mean something. I had gotten wrong. I don't know what I was thinking about July 1st, 1996. Because that's up here. And I don't know. I can't see what it says right now. But I know I do see the July 1st, 1996. I don't know if that's supposed to be her date of birth or if November 22nd, 1996 is supposed to be her date of birth. Um, that's something to keep your eye on as well. There are two different pieces of information on this same passport. I don't know which one is right. And July 1st, 1996, as hard as I keep trying, the only thing I come up with was a novel, a Deep Space Nine novel called Time. I think it's called Time Invasion or something like that. That book was released in paperback on July 1st, 1996. I don't know if that's where they were pointing, but it is a Deep Space Nine book, and it is about time. And I'm wondering if that is where this date, July 1st, 1996, is pointing us. And if it is pointing us in that direction, why do we keep getting all of these Deep Space Nine references? We know we're going to get some more. We know we're going to see that Bajoran book show up. Why are we getting all these Deep Space Nine references and we're not seeing any Deep Space Nine characters? It's pointing us in that direction. So that's something that we can kind of keep our eyes open for. There's a wealth of information on this passport and on Jurati's. Gosh, it's just with Jurati's, I have to like stop it, pause the episode in time and then be able to try to read what was on it. And her ID, I definitely couldn't see that. Her California ID when she held it up, but I could see what was going on that on her passport. And I want to comb over some more of those dates just to see where this thing is going with the dates. And hopefully, if I mean I've got an invitation to join Clarence and his team over on Discussing Trek. I'm probably going to take them up on that, especially if I find out more information. If that information points us in a direction of being able to see what's going to happen next. I don't know why I can't just wait until they tell us. I got to try to figure it out. But it's been fun. This is fun. Speaking of fun, these two are going to have big fun hanging out over the next few weeks. And that is the Borg Queen and Jurati. I called it all the way back in episode 1. Like, there's a connection there. I don't know what it is. The Borg Queen got intentions for Jurati. As we move through, we see that the partial assimilation of Jurati left her neck a little vulnerable. That's once those nanoprobes have been in there, her neck can still be tampered with. And when she shot the Borg Queen, as the Borg Queen was dying, she was telling her, "You're gonna need me. You're gonna need me. And plus, if you don't, You're gonna need me to go home. And even if you don't need me to go home, you definitely you are going through one thing. These headaches and ish that you got going on, it's gonna get worse if I die, because we are now intertwined. We're connected. Oh, thanks, Angus. It's always so much fun um actually talking to somebody. So thanks. And yeah. Yeah, the Borg Queen is looking a little too smug here. That's what I'm saying. I felt like from the beginning she's the only person who wanted to be in the positions that she's in. She wanted this. She's the only person who wanted to be there. She knows how all of this is going to play out, which makes me feel like Jurati is human. David, Jurati is human. So, okay, for all of the, I guess, all of the BS that we're going through, and I keep pointing at Q, Q, Q. Is it possible that the Borg Queen set all of this up to go back into the past? And what if Q is this version of Q? What if this version of Q is doing what he's doing because he's trying to blow up? He don't want the Borg to come into existence. And what if a member of the Q continuum had at some point been assimilated? Oh, wait a minute. Wait, just a effing minute. Okay. Oh, hey, Lysandra. What's going on, sis? Okay, I just said something that kind of blew my own mind. Wait a minute. Let me take a sip of my water. Because that, I think did we just hit it? Clarence, I got two things coming from that. Yeah, I think so, Clarence. Is Jurati the Borg Queen from episode 1? I'm thinking so. And I'm thinking that Q is so desperate because there has been a Borg, maybe a member of the continuum got assimilated in some way, shape, or form. Somebody got assimilated that should not have. And that sets all of this in motion. And that is the desperation that we see in the Q from the regular timeline. There's also this weird Q that we got, weird Q that we got in 21st century. I'm wondering if he's the one that got assimilated. Am I? Let's say, are we on to something? Let's just. There are no like parts. He doesn't have all of the tech built into him, so I don't see how that could have possibly been it. Hmm. That's strange. I don't know if I'm ready to die on that hill. That maybe a Q was assimilated, and that is why we got the desperation that we've got in the version of Q that we saw that brought that took Picard to that dystopian kind of future, that timeline. I don't know. It is no coincidence though that the Borg ship shows up, Q shows up, and then we get transported to this dystopian timeline. Are we sure that Q is the person that did this? Jurati knew precisely what would happen because she was on the ship. And if she became the Borg Queen, then she passes that on to all of the Borg Queens after her or whatever. Or that version of that Borg Queen is Jurati. I'm confusing myself. And that's what I'm saying, David. I could be wrong, but that would give you a sense of desperation. Yeah, fun will now commence. It would give a cue, a sense of desperation if somehow the Borg have started to assimilate members of the continuum. That's I didn't think about it until just now, especially as the question is Jurati the Borg Queen from episode one. I think it's safe to say she is. And the reason why I believe she is because there was no other reason for her to cover herself from head to toe. She covered her entire face. We've never seen a Borg Queen do that. Uh, that would mean to me that she would be recognizable, that the Borg Queen would that they would be able to tell who she was if she didn't have this covering on, and who she was would have been Jurati. Jurati is going to be the Borg Queen. Now, here's my question: is that Jurati Borg Queen? Jurati, and I don't want this, so don't think that I'm saying this because I want to see it happen. Is she working on behalf of the crew when she jumps on the ship and tries to do all when she initially comes in episode what was it, episode 1, when the Borg Queen initially shows up and starts trying to plug into and assimilate the ship? Is she doing that because she's trying to help? You said Dominion assimilation would be weird. I think all of this crap is weird to me now. It's like, okay, the Borg in one timeline, the dystopian future timeline, was eradicated. They were eradicated by the evil Jean-Luc Picard, who and he was supposed to kind of assassinate the Borg Queen in front of this live audience, and he didn't do it. He didn't do it because he had been replaced by our Picard. I mean, is that where everything happened? I don't know, y'all. I'm confusing myself. I'm confusing myself. Is that where everything kind of? Because if Picard would have killed that version of the Borg Queen, maybe it's possible that she could not have gone on and killed or assimilated billions of people. And Seven is playing the voice of reason in this because she was once a Borg drone. She's like, look, there are billions of people who will disagree that it was wrong to kill the Borg Queen. We actually really need to be talking about killing the Borg Queen like now. But nobody's hearing her though. Nobody's hearing her though. And I'm wondering if, because Talon has access to these portals and stuff, would she be able to move our crew of the La Serena, to move them from the time period that they're in to the time period that they belong in? I'm wondering if she would have been able to do that with her little smoke portal without the Borg Queen. So now Jurati has been reassimilated. She touched her neck and nanoprobes, and now Jurati is worse off than she was when she had the partial assimilation. And I've got brain fog still, y'all. So excuse me. What say you guys? Who has a theory? A different one. We were correct when we talked about Gary Seven over the last couple of weeks. We had narrowed things down between Gary Seven and the uh, Guardian of Forever, who I'm almost positive we keep seeing more and more point backs to him or it as well. I wouldn't be surprised if we see something because there's a lot of there is a lot that is pointing to that period in history. So you guys tell me, is it something is it something that you think is going to happen? Because I'm all kinds of foggy in the brain. It might be a day or two before I'm really back to my 100% self, but I'm getting there. So um yeah, we also know that she's going we gonna see Jurati running down the street, because we saw her. She enters this party in this red dress. She did I say what she did? She went, got herself caught at the party so that she could get taken to the security room, so that she is able to bypass their security measures and get Picard and the rest of the crew into this party, because the security is sick. Even though this is only supposed to be 2 years our future, the security is sick at this party. You said Picard as a show keeps you guessing. It does. I like that. I like that. I like having people to break it down with as well. So this is fun for me. But yes, this is, to me, the fact that we can hold these long conversations and go into speculation, or treculation, as I've been calling it here the last couple of days. As we can go into this treculation, we know um, that there's going to be more questions. Even if we get these answers this week, there's going to be more questions. And I think the keeping the conversation going is it gives the series a push that it would not have had. Like if they would have dropped all these episodes at once, and then we only talked about this one day, and then we are all done with it. No, but this right here keeps the momentum going, keeps us guessing, gets the fandom involved. I like the writing, and I like the way that they're telling this story. Again, we know we're going back to that clinic at some point, and maybe that's where the Rios storyline will tie in. I just felt like it fell a little flat in this episode, because there was, okay, they rescued Rios. We knew that was going to happen, right? So why did we go about telling this long ass story? What did we prove? There has to be something to that storyline. If not, that's going to be a big black mark on this season, on an otherwise wonderful season so far. Okay, we could come back to talk a little bit more about Star Trek Picard, because there is obviously there's a lot to talk about. But I guess before we move on any further, since this is Stream Something Sunday, you might not be streaming Picard. So tell me, what are you watching? So if you're watching something different, I mean, if you're watching Picard, I'd love to hear it, because that that's one of our big draws here. But if you're watching something different, you think we should be watching it, put it in the uh put it in the chat. I'm interested in hearing it, sharing your elevator pitch for why we should be watching what you're watching. Angus says it was character development for Rios. I didn't see no development. Now, if you can tell me how his character either progressed or regressed because of his situations, I might look at it different. But I see the same Rios. He's like literally he seems unchanged by the situation. I don't think Like, as far as I can tell, he really hasn't said anything that indicates that he had some type of epiphany or while he was locked up. Yeah, I'm just wondering who, I mean, how he changed. Has he become a better person? Has he become a worse person? Has he just learned a part of history that he didn't know before? I don't know, but it's not looking like they achieved anything. Angus said he watched Moon Knight. Moon Knight was dope. And the new season of anime just started. So you got some anime. We got a little Moon Knight. I liked Moon Knight because it is a slow sizzle. Um, one of the things, I guess, one of the things that I could say without dropping any spoilers, because I really don't want to spoil anything from Moon Knight. I don't want to. Um, but one of the things that we've gotten is an introduction to a character that many people would have been thoroughly unfamiliar with. Like, they're telling it in a different way for the MCU, which I can get behind. I always like those subtle changes so that it's not like they're just vomiting what happened in the comic books. Keep it similar enough, but different enough that people who are familiar, very familiar with this character, are not bored because they know exactly how it's going to end. I think they're doing an excellent job of introducing the character slowly, showing you what we're up against, which we know that famously this character has what used to be called multiple personality disorder. Now it's called dissociative identity disorder. I'll call it DID. So so he has DID, and one half of him is a mercenary, and the other half of him is just a regular guy. I like it. Said Rios' eyes have been opened to the racism that leads directly to the xenophobia of the new timeline. And I can agree with that. But I don't think we were shown that through Rios. So we know, oh, Rios was, man, he'd have been through some stuff. His eyes are probably open over this racism and the such. But what have the writers, only for this storyline, what have they shown us, or what have they written into the script that makes us say that? We're saying it because it's obvious. Anytime, especially probably, well, I'll say for me, anytime I'm faced in a situation where I believe things are being handled because of the color of my skin, yeah, it is a changing. It changes your mindset, I guess, in that moment. I don't walk around. Well, I guess maybe because we're used to it, though. But I don't walk around and just carry it around with me forever. But Rios, having never experienced this, we should see something. We shouldn't have to assume what his motivations will be after this. They should outline in the script through character behavior how we are going to see a change, or what change we're going to see in Rios moving forward. I like the idea that he knew exactly where he was going. You know what, this racism thing that he's never had to deal with in his whole entire life, and then he comes to this timeline and he's being treated poorly simply because of his Hispanic descent. Okay, Felicia. I hope everything's good. Something tells me it's not. Okay. I don't know. I don't know where I was. I see my yeah. I just lost my train of thought again, y'all. My little sister said something in the chat, and I jump out the window all the time, 100% of the time. It's like she say, "I'm calling you when I get home," and I immediately start thinking the worst. But that's what the way my mind works. Crazy, isn't it? Yeah, fun will now commence. Uh, Fun will now commence says, I wonder about the importance of Soong's daughter, especially because there is a statue of Adam Soong in the Confederation timeline. I am in agreement. I think, and okay, so hear me out. This is just, of course, treculation. This is not, I don't have no knowledge of this, but okay. she um she needs this genetic disorder taken care of. Q has obviously got the cure. Q has obviously got the cure for this. He's going to give it to Adam Soon, who is going to help him with something bigger, right? Adam Soon um gets this thing, the microorganism that comes from Rene Picard going out in the stars on the Europa mission, because that's really, I think, where we're pointing to what the importance of Rene Picard going on this mission was, that she finds a microorganism. She convinces them to bring the microorganism back, and that microorganism plays some part in the eugenics war or that sort of thing. I believe that because Sung is working, doing these genetic tests, and especially because he's doing them for his daughter primarily, he fixes his daughter, something else happens, she passes away. This same baseline that he's got for fixing his daughter is what starts the eugenic wars. The eugenic wars, of course, were said to have been uh, to have occurred in the 90s, as far back as we can remember. But then Star Trek Picard, and I think even there were other iterations of Trek that have let us know that record keeping in this time period, in the few hundred years leading up to first contact, was wildly unreliable and incomplete. So I think it's possible that Soong creates the serum, super soldier serum, that makes the eugenic wars, that turns things around in World War III, makes things about the eugenics war. Whatever she brought back from outer space, and that's by she I mean Rene Picard, counters that super soldier serum, because that's the only way that they could have taken over Earth in the way that they did with their kind of Nazi type behavior, is if they had the muscle to do it. And by having the muscle, they may have had enhanced individuals because of Soong's tampering. I'm not sure, and I don't even know if I'm making sense. Like I said, I had a little episode this week, so, or really for 2 weeks, and I'm still practicing using my words. Oh gosh. Yeah, I'm wondering, yeah, because we know that there are there will be a future of these, what are they, the Corey Soong. We're going to see her be used as a template moving forward in the future. Um, I'm wondering if it's because the reason why that they've started to make androids that look like her was because that Soong suffered this big loss of his daughter in this timeline. Do anybody have anything else? We talked oh, because we were talking what we were watching. So I'm just gonna hurry up and tell you guys I watched Bel Air, of course. The finale I enjoyed. I watched Moon Knight. We talked about that. I've also watched on Peacock. There was a documentary about a group of gamers, and I can't remember the name of it, but it was a little docu series about a group of gamers who had a troll in their group, and the troll told them he killed somebody, showed them pictures, and because of course, just like us, they're spread all over the world, and they had to hit the ground running trying to figure out if this guy was telling the truth or if he was lying. And that was an interesting watch. I'm also watching The Dropout. That's about Elizabeth Holmes, Theranos, and I'm watching the thing about Pam, another true crime thing. Those are the things that I'm watching. Hopefully, if you're into true crime, you'll give one of those a watch. Or if you're into other superheroes and that sort of thing, you'll give Moon Knight a try. Or watch the entire season of Bel Air. You can binge it all the way through now. You don't have to wait week by week. It was, to me, a well done first season. Okay, so do we got anything else about Star Trek Picard? Speak now, forever hold your peace. Because now I gotta find out what's going on with my sister. That's something. Yeah, this is a Thelma and Louise I never thought I'd really want to see. That is the Borg Queen and Jurati, but I'm here for it. I'm here for seeing Jurati being, I guess, taken over by the Borg Queen. You said, "What's my favorite true crime?" What you mean, like true crime? What actual event was my favorite? If I don't have. Oh, gosh, it sounds so weird saying favorite when we're talking about murder and mayhem. But for those who didn't know, I was born and bred. I was born and raised in Gary, Indiana. And in the earlier, I guess it was 1984, there was a serial killer that was active in Gary, Indiana, and other predominantly black cities in the Midwest. And of course, that affected me. Oh, okay. So, what's my favorite show? Well, so in answering the question I thought you was asking, my favorite true crime is the one that I was a big part of, or I was around for a big part of, and even as a little girl, and I was a young girl when this happened. I could not get enough information. I read the newspaper every day. 11 years old, reading about the serial killer, trying to make sure that he wasn't in our area anymore. Because one of the young ladies who was killed by this killer was killed like literally around the corner from my house. So that was the true crime. I guess that's what got me interested in it, was that one. But then my favorite true crime show is usually go with the old staples like 2020 Dateline. I like both of those, and they do cover crimes most of the time, a lot of the time. But yeah, so those are the ones that I love the most. But if it's a docu series, it looks like it's well done. Like Bad Vegan, I watched that as well. Got to watch it again because I think I've fallen asleep on a part of it. But yeah, Bad Vegan was pretty decent as well. Just tell the story. Don't try to sensationalize it. And give us a lot of different point of views from the people who survived this situation, and I'll be in most of the time. Most of the time, I'm in. Yeah, y'all got to excuse me. I'm still getting myself back together. I'm not making any promises about. You know what? The one show that I believe that I want to do is the Wednesday show, Midweek Meltdown, because it's been a few weeks since we've talked entertainment news. We'll do that on Wednesday, but everything else I'm going to kind of reserve, uh saying that I'm going to come on at a certain time, because again, I had a pretty, for those who don't know, and I'm saying it, and I'm going to leave it alone. For those who don't know, I do kind of suffer from anxiety and depression. In last 2 weeks, things was bad. I have had I had a bad episode, put it like that. And yeah, it really takes so much, like I can't even concentrate on one thing. I'm all over the place. So I'm getting back to myself, and uh I love this part of it, because you just, it's like you feel yourself waking up from a long hibernation. It's like each function of your body starts working a little bit more. It hasn't caught up with my mouth and my brain yet. So that is why, uh, that was the reason for my absence, and that is why I'm scatterbrained. You said, "Dang, what an introduction to crime." Glad I'm doing my thing. Yeah, because there, that situation was very close to home. So yeah, it would have been something, had if, I guess, yeah, it would have been something if I had been the one caught. I'm glad that we had the restrictions that we had on us that felt like they were so oppressive when we were little kids. I'm glad we had those restrictions, because that would have caused that man to have to actually come to our house pretty much to take us, because we couldn't move around the neighborhood uh the same way other kids could. When my mother was alive, especially when my mother was living, we wasn't able to just walk around the neighborhood. It had to be sanctioned by an adult. Oh, and thanks, David. So I said all that to say I'm gonna take off. I hope to see you guys here Wednesday. If you want to talk entertainment news with me, I do that at 6 p.m. Central Standard Time. You might also, and I'm going to catch up with Clarence to make sure, but you might also be able to catch me have a conversation, instead of me just sitting and talking. Have a real conversation with Clarence and his guys over on Discussing Trek. If you are not subscribed to that podcast, you can go to Discussing Trek wherever podcasts are served. Those are my pod brothers. My pod brothers. So yeah, with all that, I don't have anything else. I hope you guys have had fun. I hope we continue to get good stuff out of Star Trek Picard. And I hope that some of the newer people that we saw in the chat will join us here again. It's been fun having y'all. Okay. And I'll see you guys in my next broadcast. Thanks for being here. Peace.